Welcome back to the Power to Love podcast. This is the ninth and final part of our series on your love words. Now, so far, we've gone over what your love words are. We've gone into love messages and getting to your feelings. We've discussed your irresistible vocabulary, speaking genuinely in a feminine way, feeling message don'ts, and we've also gone into feeling messages, the little voice of change, a dark feminine place, shifting from pain to power, and then your poetry words. That all leads us up to today, where we're going to talk about what to say to him. And the first thing that I feel is important when you consider what to say to a man and putting together your feeling messages, because that's the whole point, is for relationship communication. But there's something that you need to think about before you get into like the physical what to say to him. There's something that's crucial for you to think about. And it has a lot to do with, why are you speaking to him this way? Number one, I just want to clarify this for you. Number one, it's to have control over yourself and to be in touch with yourself and to be connected to your own emotions rather than your own emotions getting out of control and getting ahead of you and making like all kinds of chaos. Your words really impact your emotions, and that's why we pick our words. We specifically choose our words so that when we shift into our feminine, we already have the words to describe the way that we feel. We have the words to describe the emotions that we want to experience, as well as the emotions that we are experiencing that may not be so nice. And the thing is how do we communicate this? And I get so many requests about what to text him. I'm going to cover that right towards the end. I'm going to cover that about the texting. But right now, you want him to experience heartfelt words. Why? Because you want to draw him closer. This is the whole point. But it has to be genuine. Remember, that's an underlying theme that I keep going back to. It must be genuine. And here's another point. Your love words will keep his attention. Remember, he's going to remember how well you speak to him, how nicely you speak to him, how feminine you speak to him, and not just him, in general. And the thing is that these words will trigger his attraction, his emotions, his desire, and they'll also complement his connection to you. So our whole point about love words is to design your words that fill your life from your heart and soul. And this complements leaning back and being warm and being in your feminine. This is all about speaking love. So the one thing that I want to point out to you when we talk about what to say to him is to first realize that you're speaking these beautiful words. That helps him experience closeness and connection with you. But let's remember, his mind is also on work, family, sports, friends, whatever his hobbies and interests are. And when his mind and his attention are on you, he'll always think of the emotional connection that he has with you. And here's the key. He'll want more because it gives him a feeling, and your words and your actions, your feminine words and your feminine actions, they linger. Your beautiful words like stick to him. And his memory of this makes him attracted to you, more attracted to you. More importantly, it reminds him that he enjoys his connection with you, the relationship with you. And this relationship is just as important to him as all the other areas of his life. But the first thing that you must realize is that he has all those other areas of his life. You cannot dominate all of him. Starting from there, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. It takes a little bit of the anticipation off because it's like, okay, I may want him to call me. I may want him to text me. I may want to know what he's doing, what's going on, what I'm going to hear from him, what we're going to do. Ooh, do you see where I just went? Shift the focus back to you. Get into your schedule and your things. And when he approaches, when he reaches out, he gets 100% feminine from you. 100%. And your words confirm that. Your words back that up. Your words are special because you're speaking love words to him. Even if you're just talking about regular stuff. So, in what to say to him, we've gone through everything in this series. Okay, I did a deep dive, short of coaching. I did a deep dive. And so I hope you took notes. If not, go back and take notes. But explore the words that work for you when you speak to him. Remember to be poetic. And by poetic, I mean don't be a reporter. Express your feelings in your descriptions and your words. And make a list of words that describe your feelings that feel natural to you when you say them. And remember, you have to practice it. You can't just say, oh, that feels weird. Practice it and see. Try it out on different people in different circumstances at different times and see how that works for you. It's an exercise. You're incorporating new words all of the time. You're incorporating words that connect to feelings that you experience. So it's an ongoing thing. My whole point in beginning this section, this podcast on what to say to him is don't put so much pressure on him. It's like, okay, I'm going to say these words to him. And what do you think that's going to change if you have expectations of him to let you cut into all the other areas of his life? Allow him to come to you. This is what leaning back is about. So what I'm trying to do is to take that anxiety out of your expectations so that you'll lean back, which means you're going to receive, pause, and then respond. But also part of leaning back is having your own schedule, doing your own thing, finding joy and pleasure in your life, especially the things you love about being a woman. Okay? It's enjoying those things. Do that first and then focus on what you want to say to him. And I've gone through, if you have to discuss something that's not so good, go back through the series. How to handle the arguments, avoid them. I've covered that as well. So what you're saying to him, even a regular conversation, you're going to infuse your feelings. And it's not about a put on or to impress him. It's a way of being. And to sum it all up, when you're dealing with him, you're not in your masculine. When you're interacting with him directly, you are not in your masculine. I'll give you an example. I was driving and a friend of mine, a guy, was with me, and I had to do some fancy driving to avoid a situation. It's a little perturbed, and some colorful words came out. But the way I said them, we both laughed. And he said, "I'm glad you're such a good driver." So he acknowledged that I was in a tight situation and that my verbal response was appropriate to that tight situation we found ourselves in on that road. But the thing is do you see it? It was a masculine experience that I had, but I still, with the sailor speaking, I still found a way to express myself in a feminine way, even though I was using colorful, capital C, colorful words. That's an example. All right. And another thing I want to point out to you is when you're speaking to a man, remember, you have a mixture of feelings. You can't always be positive. I understand that. But there's always a mixture of feeling. And so one of the key things to always do is to look for the positive, even if you must express something that doesn't feel so good or a topic that may have some tension to it. You still first want to look for the positive and speak it. Not just find the positive and be like, okay, yeah, that was good. No, it's like, I'm so grateful that that situation really worked out for me at work today. Oh, it feels so relieving. It feels like a warm bubble bath. Okay, I express that. There's still something lingering, and we will get to that. And I do have the words for it. But do you see how I set the mood? What to say to him is all about the mood that you're setting. And it's not his mood, it's your mood. You're setting your mood. That's why we look for the good feeling. We get into the mixture of feelings and we find a good feeling first. It's almost like taking that sigh, like, whoo, okay, let me shift over here to this. The most important question I get from clients when I'm coaching and we're talking about what to say to him is, what if it's really bad? What if you're just not feeling well? What if you're sick? Then silence and minimal words will probably be your go-to, because it's conveying to him the words that you use are going to be, your love words, but your lack of words will let him know that, not feeling so good. I think I need to take a nap, lay down. I think I need to unwind. Um, I think I need to veg. Okay. And he can tell that it's not directed at him. I think that's the most important thing when you're saying that I don't feel good or it's something really bad. He from your emotions that you display through your words and your actions, and even if you're not saying much, it will let him know it's not about him. And if you have a real touchy guy that you have to let him know, hey, boo, this has nothing to do with you. It's just, that situation I was telling you about. Ugh, I just feel like I'm in the pits right now for a few minutes. I'm going to have a 2-minute pity party, and then I'm probably going to go take a shower, and I may call it a night. I don't know. Do you see how I made it clear it's not about him? I think that's the number one thing, is sometimes we don't communicate that, okay, what has me blue has nothing to do with you. All right? Okay, now, what if it did have something to do with him? Then you're going to have to manipulate your emotions a little bit. And here's the beauty of leaning back. Leaning back is a movement. You can lean back, you can step back, and you can walk away. If you must have time to yourself, then you just need to take that time to yourself so that you don't damage the relationship, so that you don't say some words that hurt his feelings that you can't take back. So that freedom of movement, lean back, step back, walk away, you utilize that so that instead of saying something harmful or saying something thoughtless or reacting with some words that are not flowery or feminine or love words or anything like that, instead of that, give yourself some space and distance so that you can shift your emotions, you can shift your focus, you can shift your mood. And I have to tell you, sometimes I am so perturbed with people, and I'll say men, I'm so perturbed, I don't want to look at them. What do you do in that situation? And if you've been listening to me for a while, you know I've had a bit of a temper. So what do? I give myself the distance and I actually work on it. Whatever the issue is, I journal on it. Is this something beyond my control? What is within my control? I go through the process. If you don't journal, speak to a friend, speak to a religious leader, your pastor, someone like that, or get a coaching session. Work through the situation. Don't just stew on it. And then this way, once you have your emotions, I won't say in check, but once you have a better hold on your emotions, then you can, how would I put this? You can then put together a script or at least journal about what it is that you feel and then later consider what it is that you want to say. And 9 times out of 10, if you go back through the series, you're asking, can we talk about this? And you're beginning with something good, a good feeling, but you're saying, I'd like to talk about this. Okay. But before you get into that conversation, realize, are you accepting him as he is? Are you trying to control him or the situation? Does this involve something beyond your control? These are the things that you have to look into because you don't want to go into the conversation with false expectations or expectations that are going to end up in a stalemate. If you're going to be in a stalemate, you want to know that beforehand because you may choose not to have that conversation if it's going to be a stalemate. Okay? So that's something else to consider. And another point is when you're putting together what you want to say to him is you want to be present and aware. You don't want to be drifting off somewhere else. And that's it when especially so if you're not feeling well, that's kind of when you're saying, okay, I don't feel well because you really can't sometimes maintain that awareness and that presence and the consciousness with him. So you're being honest, hey, can't do that right now. I can't hang. I don't feel well. And it's giving him your truth. And remember, we spoke about speaking your truth. So here's something else I want to point out. Let's say you've gone through this whole series and you're still not feeling familiar with speaking your feelings, or you feel like you're out of practice, or, you just haven't had time to work on any of this. Make it a part of you. So whether you take time once a month, once a week, a few times a week, or once a day, at least make this practice a part of you so that your words that you speak and your feminine words, more importantly, that you speak are a part of you, just like doing your hair, putting on your makeup, getting dressed, taking a bath. That's a part of you. These are the things that you do. Make your feminine words part of what you do. Make it a part of your rituals. Make it a part of your habit and make it something pleasant. Don't make it like this mundane drudgery that you have to do. No, make it something alive and beautiful and enticing, attractive when you want to turn it on like that. So, here's my spiel on text messaging. I don't believe in having a relationship by text. And I won't let a man do it either. I won't, my words are very limited by text, and I may resort um to like the emotions and the little icons and things like that instead of getting too wordy. And I'm not so much for for a phone relationship either. I think that connection and relationship happen face to face. I try to limit my phone conversations so that we're just getting to the point, but we're not going to have a relationship over the phone. We're not going to have our most intimate communications by text. No, baby, face to face. And that's one of my criterias. So when I'm coaching clients, I'm letting them know, let's say you have a real texty kind of guy, right? Then you're giving him sweet, short responses and you're really loading it with the emotion so that this is where your love words come in handy because you're loading it up with that feminine feeling and the feminine emotion, and it's really it conveys. He can tell, he can realize, oh yeah, yeah, she's responding to me, sweet, I like that, but not so wordy, not so much, because for me the point is for us to be in person. It's for us to spend time together. This is where our connection will be fostered. I won't ignore his text messages. Of course, I'll take his phone calls. He wants me to call him, I'll give him a call, and it will be meaningful, but I will not stay on the phone long. Not too long. I will not conduct a relationship over the phone. And things get lost in translation when you text. It really gets lost. I have a couple of contractors, and when we interact, one of them in particular, he will do a voice recording and send that to me. And I was like, okay, you know what? I really like that. That he really answered the questions that I had. We got down to the bottom of everything, and we weren't texting back and forth and the typos. None of that. So when you're texting, you really want to make it feeling based and make it pretty. That's why I like all of the little hearts and all that stuff and the smiley faces. I can do that, and it's my style now. Do you understand? So my whole take on texting when I coach clients is, what's your style? What's your honest style in texting? And it's kind of for everyone, even for like my best friend. I'm going to pick up the phone and call her. Okay, I'll text something, but maybe if it's something funny and she'll go haha right back. But we know later on we're going to get on the phone. Okay, so that we can talk about this. And 9 times out of 10, when we get on the phone, we're planning our next adventure. Okay, when are we going out? When are we hanging out? And I look forward to that. Do you see? It puts a different feeling to your communications by text and by phone. And the same thing goes for email. I was notorious. I would break up with people by email. I would send these long, drawn out emails once upon a time. No more. No more. No, 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 no. 9 times out of 10, if it's not business, you will not see my email address. Okay? That's just me. But I want you to understand why, because a lot can get lost in translation. People can misinterpret it. There is such a thing as inflection and tone. If if he says to me, not right now, T, I'm gonna check, let me catch you later. From his tone and his inflection, I could tell something went wrong. But if he was just to text those words to me, it would be flat. And I'd be like, who am I talking to? you know, I would misinterpret it. I'm missing something. And that is my warning to you about text messages, because a lot of women want to do the come hither thing by text message. And unless you're talking about sexting, and I don't coach on that, but if you're sexting, that's completely different. But to communicate your love words and your feelings, I think that to be brief works when it comes to leaning back and just making yourself understood, because the most important thing is your feeling, that you're expressing your feeling. And the other thing is that men, they're just as touchy as we are. They're human too. And what if he misinterprets it? Wouldn't you prefer to avoid that situation? Okay, that's my point. So let me come down off of my soapbox about the texting. Wrapping this up, these are the final points I want to share with you. Timing is everything. When you want to share something with him, timing is everything. Be aware of the environment, be aware of him, what's going on with him. Be aware of your own schedule, and always have a plan B. I always believe in a plan B, because what if this isn't the right time to talk to him? What if something just went down with a family member with him and he's zooming across town? Not the time for my little butterfly talk. Definitely not. Okay, so timing is everything. Next, fight whatever urge you have to say something in particular if you feel like you're in masculine mode. If you're leaning forward happens. Resist the urge to say whatever it is that you're thinking of, capital T, thinking of, when you're in masculine mode. And this is to him. Okay. Other people, I believe in doing that with other people too, but some people ask for it. Okay. But still, and that requires a bit of awareness. All right. And next, let me re-emphasize that you want to start with a good feeling. When you start speaking and sharing your feelings, you want to start with your feelings. And that requires you to go deeper into your feelings, because you may want to spit something out, but I always tell my clients, what's under that feeling? Let's get under that feeling, because maybe we could clarify it a little bit. I was mad once, and once I got under the feeling, I realized I was really sad. And I was sad about something that had nothing to do with the situation or what I was going to talk about. Changed everything for me, only because I took a second to go a little bit deeper into my feelings. And realize that sometimes silence is okay. It's all about your emotions. If you need a timeout or some silence to get your emotions together, to get a grasp on what you're feeling, then I think that's more important than anything that you think you have to say to him. So I'm going to encourage you to go back over this series and find what stands out for you as far as finding your own texting style and expanding your love words list and all the other words that we've gone through in the series. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll put together a new series in a few months, I believe. I'll put together a new series. But in the interim, feel free to reach out to me by email and ask me any questions you may have when it comes down to your love words. This has been the Power to Love podcast. Until next time, ciao.